Alright guys, quick video here. This is not going to be terribly long. I did a test run where I compiled my thoughts. I realized it was about 3 times longer than I wanted it to be. So this is going to be very short, simple, and concise. This week's video commentary is on the border situation from the political angle specifically. As I said in the last video, there's a lot of interconnected complexities about the border situation. And this goes back to immigration reform and the lack thereof for the last 35, 40 years. The fact that Congress and the presidency has just played kick the can down the road. They've been talking out of their mouths, both sides. This has been true since LBJ. Say one thing, do another, say one thing, do another. And the problem, it just has not been dealt with, alleviated, or addressed in any meaningful fashion. And it's one of those things that is very problematic, because what this does... Go away, cat. Sorry, I had to preempt my 20-pound bowling ball of feet from jumping on my legs. What we'll need to do is make sure that we understand that the dynamic of all of this is by design, because the politician mindset is not a normal human mindset. The idea is, so long as there's a problem, I have a job, leads to an action and a lot of bullshit. Just straight up lying. And get off my feet. Keeps... You are a bowling ball. Get off. Get off. Thank you. Like I said, this is going to be a feature of my videos for the time being. Anyway, point being this. This is fuel for the political fire. And this fire keeps them all in jobs. Right? Unlike you and me who work normal jobs, where if we keep saying one thing, doing another, and things never improve, and things are just constantly in crisis mode, we get fired. Politicians somehow convince the rest of us that, oh no, that's just business as usual, and we're going to fix everything eventually one day. 30 years later, they're not fixed. They're worse, and no end is in sight, because no one has had the fortitude to stand up and say, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. It's not going to be cheap, but if we do it now, it won't be worse later. And the few people that have the fortitude to say that are ignored. That's not right. That's not helpful. It's not good. Specifically, I want to address Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, the firebrand youngling representative, congressional delegate from New York. As she's not much younger than I am. I think she's 28 or 29. So there is a lot of youth and vigor and excitement there. And that's not a bad thing, but there also seems to be a significant lack of experience and reasoning. It was reported last week that she went down to the border and she saw all these things. She talked about people drinking out of toilets. She said migrants told her, the detainees told her, oh, they wake us up in the middle of the night yelling. We don't have toothbrushes. We don't have toothpaste. We barely have toilet paper. They're not giving us sufficient medical care. All these different things, right? Okay. On the surface, that's bad, and it's very much as I said previous video, it's a problem. We need more people. We need more funding. We need more resources to help address the situation. We also need to stop making it worse by ignoring it and not actually remedying the issue, which, again, covered in the last video, and I will make another video specifically going into detail about that. That'll probably be a long one, too, by the way, just for your information. So, all that having been said, we find out now... and Tim Pool did a video about this, link in the description, that he dropped it back on Monday. We find out now that all these pictures of her and all these claims of hers are actually in dispute. That allegedly she was yelling at, not, trying to communicate with people, but she was just yelling. Just yelling at Border Patrol. She was verbally trying to instigate a fight or something. She was acting very immature. She refused to go on a complete tour of the facility. It's like she saw one section and, oh, that's it. That's all I need to see. Allegedly, she forced her way into a holding area to speak to people. She alleges that that's where they told her we're drinking out of the toilet because they won't give us water bottles or anything. she alleges that someone told her they're conducting psychological warfare on us. They're yelling at us in the middle of the night. They won't let us sleep. They're beating us. They're harming us. They're molesting the children. Look, I'm not saying that those things don't happen or haven't happened or can't happen, but when you go down for a photo op and make it look like you are despairing at this chain link fence about the terrible conditions that these people are in, they're out in the weather and they're just in these giant holding fences. And then not even a week later, more pictures come out and show you screaming at an empty parking lot. You're not helping your credibility at all. For myself, I'll take things at face value, but that doesn't mean that I will simply leave it as such. The old expression, trust but verify. It just, the world and the climate we live in, that's how it is. Especially when it comes to what politicians are telling us. Because if you haven't noticed by now, I don't trust politicians. I can think of 5 or 6, actually, I can think of 7 off the top of my head across the board from local government all the way up to the presidency that I trust. And by the way, Donald Trump is still on the fence for me. I haven't decided if I can trust him or not. As I've said in previous videos, there are things he's done I like. It's like, okay, finally, someone is doing something that I want them to do. There are things he's done that I don't like. I don't know why the hell he's doing it. It makes no sense to me in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't follow as something logical. If you have a stance about one thing that's one way, why would you have something that's 180 degrees fucked up the other on a narrowly separated subject? I'm not thrilled with that. And there are things that he's done that I don't give a shit because it's irrelevant. And there are things he's done I don't have an opinion because at the moment it doesn't affect me and it's not germane to the bigger issues for me personally. It doesn't mean that I take those for granted. It doesn't mean that I ignore them or that I don't consider them. They're just not very high up the importance scale for me, the hierarchy of priorities that I have. So, I wish he'd get off Twitter, but ultimately, whatever. He stirs the pot. I like to stir the pot. I guess we have that in common. So it's entertaining sometimes, and the rest of the time it's just distracting noise, which, okay, whatever. That's of no consequence for me long run. Go watch the video from Tim Pool on his channel, Timcast. It's going to be a lot longer than this one. It's about 25 minutes, give or take. He brings up some articles. He makes some great observations. He brings up some good points. I'm actually in the middle of my second rewatch of it here at this point because there's a lot to dig into. He does link a lot of the articles and other information below his video. Again, like I said, I have a link to that video from Tim and his channel below in the description for this one. I want to leave with a question. Is it really paranoid or unreasonable to distrust the things that politicians say? Since they thrive on misdirection, since they are masters of con artists, master con artists, because the fact that they keep telling us we have the solution, but they never implement it, or the solutions that they do implement make things worse, am I being unreasonable when I say that I really don't trust politicians? Am I unreasonable in saying that, I kind of wish it was like the old days where if a politician really screwed up, all you had to do is walk by with some rope in your hand and he unfucked himself? Or, well, mostly. We didn't have very many women politicians till after the 1920s. But as it is, am I really being unreasonable? Is this really, am I really being that barbaric and regressive to think that maybe some of these politicians need to be reminded that if they continue on the path that they're on, lying to people and not fixing things, that things will degenerate to the point to where they will be forced to either start killing us off in earnest, or they'll need to go into hiding because we'll start killing them off in earnest. Okay? I mean, we didn't quite get to that point in the Civil War. It was close, but not quite. But there was a time in this country and in other countries in the history of Western civilization where when things got bad enough and the politicians, the people in power, the gentry, or I'm sorry, the lordship, the monarchy, whatever, back in England and Europe, things got bad enough people would finally say, you know what, I have nothing else to lose. You fucked me over for the last time. If I die, I'm taking you with me. Now, we see that in parts of the Middle East and other parts of the world where we see these uprisings and revolutions and shakeups in government. Is it really that unreasonable to think that we here in America could actually reach that point? Because I don't know where that line is. I don't know where it is, honestly. For me, I know where it is, but I don't think that where my line is the same for everyone else. So the question is it unreasonable to distrust politicians? Is it unreasonable to make them afraid of failure because they live off of failure? They fail so that they can get reelected, and we need to stop electing those people that way. You know, am I being unreasonable in that? Comments down below. Take a look at Tim's video. Until next time, be excellent to each other. Taxation is theft, and I will talk at you all later.